Happy day, ladies. Happy day, coaches. I miss you guys so much. I've loved and really enjoyed just hearing about the great movement forward that you guys are having as a program. I want to go ahead and give it on up to you guys. 3 claps for the athletes. 3 claps for the coaches. So proud of you guys. I wish I was there to see it in person. But I've really enjoyed my weekly emails and just my interactions with the coaching staff from far away. So I come to you in representing Shine Bright, representing my Blue Devil shirt. What up? But I've done my part. I told you guys, y'all inspired me to make sure that I get on my task about Shine Bright. And so this is me reaching out through Shine Bright, and I'm asking you, are you doing what you said you were going to do? Are you pushing habit away? Are you holding yourself accountable about all the learning opportunities? Like, what an impactful week we had together. Are you keeping that in the forefront, or are you letting things get in the way now that life is happening, right? Your schedules, your expectations from all angles. But when you have an opportunity to be there with your teammates, to be there with your sport, are you breaking out all the noise and just focusing in on steady movement forward? And how can I get that next moment? How can I improve in little increments going forward, which will ultimately have a positive impact? You know, they say time flies when you're having fun, and with school, social, in season, listen, I know time's flying, but still we can sit still and just have a moment of reflection and see where are the areas that we can hold ourselves accountable in regards to new habit that we're obtaining, and habit that we need to leave in the past. Hey Lola, come push me out of the way, girl. Remind everybody how habit needs to be. Okay, she's gotten strong at that. Very nice, very nice. That's what should be happening, right? Like, you guys should be shoving it out of the way. You should be getting those reps of mental mindfulness where you're identifying like, oh, those are the things that I used to do. And I am recognizing the pattern, and I understand that is the space of growth where I need to move forward and make some changes, right? And so I want to talk to you a little bit about that today. I want to talk to you guys about reminding you the positive impact of a positive body language on the court, even when things are not going our way. So what we're talking about here is being resilient. I want to talk to you guys about managing the game. I know that I've heard positive things that we are no longer playing safe. That makes me so proud that we're seeing the court a little bit more, but I think maybe there's moments where we want it so bad, we're forcing errors instead of being mindful and intentional and placing that ball in places that we should be, just to maintain and give our defense and our offense just yet another opportunity. In addition, I want to talk about how impactful coming off the bench is, and what a perspective you have, not only to feed positive energy to the girls that are on the court, but also your vision. You're the first one to call and give specific detail about the ball, about what you see. You're looking through the net. You're gaining information. Does their left back move slow to the left, slow to the right? Does she forget about the corner behind her, right? What is their offensive tendencies? Like, you're in such a special position, and I want to make sure that we're maximizing that bench role. Coach is going to pass out 2 worksheets. The first one we're going to talk about, at the top of it, it says, strong teams are built on silent teamwork, positive body language. And so I know that was a big deal when we were together. We talked a lot about it. But not only did we talk about it, we came up with tools. I know the key word, cookies, right? We're using that. But more so, when I think back to our time together, I remember you guys going through the journey of breaking the habit and being mindful and hosting yourself in a positive way. And then when we would come to the board and talk, how you, and I just can't help but to use Kelsey as an example, because I remember there was a session where like she shared that beautiful smile the whole session. And when she reflected, like she said, that felt good. I was able to improve after a mistake much faster. And so I just need us to remember those moments of holding ourselves accountable. Ladies, I'm going to say it 1,000 times. You're going to make mistakes. That's what the sport is about, right? In life, you're going to make mistakes, but is the resilience. It is about how you move on, how you absorb and observe in yourself. Okay, what can I do in the next moment? Because the moment's coming. And if you're fretting or throwing a fit or grumbling or having a dark cloud over your head, that next moment will not be kind to you. And remember, this is not a you game. This is a team game. So there's a sense of responsibility that we have to also be resilient for our teammates.
You and I were beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Oh, when it crumbles, we will stand tall, face it all together.
So take a moment to self-reflect and hold yourself accountable and be honest. I want you to think in the first 2 columns about times that you did exemplify positive body language and how that made you feel. That could be a time after you did something good, or that could be a time even after you made a mistake. But I want you to reflect and write how that made you feel when you had positive body language. And then I would like for the next 2 columns for you to write down how your team feels when you exemplify poor body language on the court, okay? Because we must be mindful of how our actions are affecting others. And in the last columns, I would like for you to think about what can you do? What is it that you can do? Actionable things that you can do to hold yourself accountable to make sure that you're sending out positive ripples to hopefully create a wave that has a positive benefit on our side of the net. And now that everyone has completed that task, I think it's very important that we go around and read our entries on our sheet. And that's a 2-fold reason. One, I can hear what's important to my teammates, how they're feeling, what they're observing, and I can help be a support system in their accountability. Second, when I say it out loud, then I'm held accountable. And I can be a testimony to that. Every day I'm thinking about the moment that I had where you guys made my heart so tender, and I said, yes, I am going to make Shine Bright work. How dare I then come back to Florida and not make Shine Bright work when I told you guys who meant so much to me that yes, I'm going to do it. So there's magic in saying our goals out loud to people who are our teammates and can be a direct positive impact in holding us accountable.
My life, beautiful sea, I choose to be happy. You and I, we're like diamonds in the sky.
And now that we've all read our entries and we are all in a positive direction, realigned, reminded about the forward motion that we want to take as a united front, if I could have somebody please stand tall and read our Resilient Flower worksheet. I sent this over because I wanted you to have something to hang in the locker room, maybe in your locker, maybe at home where you could see it. But just a reminder, and this isn't just pertaining to volleyball, but in life, ladies, again, I'm going to say mistakes are going to be had. The mistake is not where I am weak. It is the learning that makes me strong, right? And so just something to remind you guys to keep your head high, put your crown tall, because you a baddie. So So today in practice, when you guys are in a competitive situation, I want you to think back to when I introduced to you the 2-on butterfly. Specifically, I said if it's a vibe, go for it. If it's not a vibe, you have to make it a vibe, right? And I think too often we're so hungry, we're so desirable for this point that we're forcing opportunities, right? And so that's where those unforced errors, and ultimately, let's be the team with the least amount of unforced errors. Because even if I send a ball over that makes them take 2 steps over to the right to dig a ball, they now are in position to make a mistake. And me and my girls are in a position to take a breath and be confident in our defense so that we can transition into our offensive opportunity, right? So be very mindful, right? And those are there's 2 words I really want you to think about on the offensive side. And that is mindfulness and intention, not just forcing. Okay, so that's what I encourage you guys to have as a thought for practice today. The last thing I want to talk about is the huge opportunity of being on the bench and how many points can be scored on the bench. Sometimes we are sad that we're not on the court, and that makes a lot of sense because we love our sport and we want to be on the court. But we have to understand that my job is to put my team first and to trust my coach. If my coaches, let's say I did start on the court, but coach sees a need for an adjustment and I come off the court, what an opportunity for me to be engaged, to be feeding in positive energy and gathering as much information so that when coach calls my name, I, in fact, maybe have a better advantage than the girls who never came off the court because I had a bird's eye view. And so that's one of those mental things that we have to change our mentalities on how we view the circumstance that we're finding ourselves in. And you have the power to choose to maximize that opportunity. I'm wishing you guys a great practice. Go have some fun, be competitive, and love on each other. Coach is going to send you home with 3 sheets of paper. 2 are assignments and 1 is explaining one of the assignments. I'm calling it thoughtful homework. Just take your time, set a vibe, light a candle, play some music, and be intentional about your input, right? So that you can reap the benefits of the assignment. You guys are amazing. I hope you're having fun. It's still early. No matter how much time we have remaining, be present. There's always opportunity for growth. I'm so proud of you. Continue to shine bright. Talk to you soon.